Once again, I have a lot of positives to heap upon you for the work that you're doing. Um, Essay after essay after essay, I am really impressed. I'm impressed with the effort that you put in. Almost everybody, okay? Not everybody, but of course, you know, that's the way it always is. But almost everybody, and really, everybody is putting in effort. Just not everybody is putting in effort every week. Some people occasionally try to skate by. Well, that's a decision you make. Okay. Your comments. I really, really enjoy your comments um, because you even go back and forth to each other, which makes it super fun for me. I guess too many exaggerated terms here, really, really, and super fun and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm an English teacher, so I tune into that kind of stuff, and here I am saying it. Okay, now, so keep up the good work. We're really headed in a very fine direction. Okay, you folks are interesting and fun to work with. A couple of people have run into problems in the last week or so. When that happens, just get in touch with me. Okay, text me, call me. You have my phone number. Have no qualms about calling me, and leave me a message if I don't pick up the phone in the first place. But text me. Okay, my texts. I always see all my texts. So okay, so be aware of that. I want to work with you. Okay, you can probably tell from my sweatshirt that I'm a Criminal Minds fan. I've loved that program since it came on. Um, I'm saddened to hear that it's not renewed this year, but maybe it's just run its course too. And that's okay because most programs do. We're kind of Law and Order SVU fans, except that program should have run its course many years ago too, because I don't know. Anyway, moving forward, enough of television. We want to talk about theme today. Okay, theme is critical to literature if you are going to be a thinking person with literature. Now, my question for you this week, instead of saving the question for the end, I'm going to give it to you now. Okay, my question for you this week is this: is the theme going to be the same for every reader? Okay? Is is Luke going to get the same thing out of a story as Mark is? Okay? Um, you know, and the more we talk about theme, the more we'll go into that. Okay. So that's my question for you. Okay? Not Luke and Mark, but is theme going to be the same for everybody? Okay, so what is theme? Basically, the theme of a story is the telling of, in a sense, the meaning of the story, the reason for a piece of fiction being written. That's what the theme is. Theme and plot are two very different things. Okay, um, plot is part of the making of a theme, but it is not the same thing as theme. Okay, theme really is comprised of all the things that we have talked about so far and more. Things that we'll talk about in future weeks are a part of theme as well. Okay, so theme really is why an author may have written a story, why an author wrote a story. Okay, and again, does that mean we should know exactly what was happening with the author? No. One of the great American authors once said that when I wrote that story, two people knew what it meant: God and me. Now there's only one. Meaning the author had gone on in life, his place had changed in life, and so exactly what he wanted to say in that story, in the sense of giving forth a meaning, um, may well have changed even for him because he had moved on in life. So, if you think about things that happened to you 5 years ago, your reaction then probably would be very different from if that same thing were to happen for you now, because we're all in different places than we were 5 years ago. Okay? Let me give you another example. Last week we read the story Soldier's Home. Okay? Now, for one person in the class who spent time in Afghanistan in the military, that story had certain meanings and brought some things home to him. Okay? But if you haven't been in the military, then your reaction would not be the same as his. Somebody else wrote that when she read that story, she instantly thought of her grandfather, her great grandfather, who had served in World War I, and then her grandparents, who had served in World War II. And she said it actually brought tears to her eyes to think about these people, and that story brought her to these people. Okay, if we don't know any veterans or people who were veterans in a combat situation, then our reaction is going to be different, and so the meaning in a work is going to be different for those of us who do know somebody that was involved as opposed to somebody who doesn't. I can't help but think of my older brother who flew A4s. He was, if you've seen the movie Top Gun, which has been around for quite a while now, but my brother was one of those Top Gun pilots, and he landed on aircraft carriers, and he taught people to land on aircraft carriers during the Vietnam era, and then in 1985, he died from brain cancer, and that was probably caused by the fact that back in the days of Vietnam era, okay, the radar and the other kinds of things, sonar and all that kind of thing, were not as refined as it is today. You all know that you shouldn't be exposed to a whole lot of x-rays today. Well, when I was a kid and we went to buy shoes, there was a machine there that we'd put our feet under and look down, and it would actually x-ray our feet so that we could see exactly where our feet were in shoes. Now, fortunately, those kinds of things are long gone. But we weren't aware of the damage that those kinds of things could do, okay? Same thing with sonar and radar from those days a good while back. We weren't aware of the damage it caused. Well, it caused brain cancer for my brother. And I know of other pilots from the same era where the same thing happened, and yet the military has never said this is what happened. And so, what are you going to do? You did what you could for your country, and I guess you paid the price. Okay, so anyway, theme. Theme is not something we can express in a single word. Theme is not something we can express in a single sentence, okay? Theme takes some thinking and putting things together. Theme is a meaning. So if we had a story, well, actually, one of the stories in our textbook that we won't cover is, I can't remember the name of it, but it's about a young African American growing up in kind of a poverty-stricken area in America, Midwestern America, and he ends up being the valedictorian of his high school class and has to give a speech at his graduation, but then they ask him to give the same speech at a gathering of the most prominent citizens in the town, the most prominent businessmen. And these guys abuse him terribly because he's African American, okay? So the theme in that story is a whole lot more than just the word racism. It's a lot more than that, okay? There's a lot going on there, And if you are from any kind of minority, your interpretation of what that story is all about, so what the meaning of that story is going to be different from if you are not from any minority group. And so you're expressing it, it's going to be different. Okay? So theme really is what you as the reader find for the meaning of a story. And again, you can't tell that in a single word, definitely. You can't tell that in a few words. You can't tell that in a sentence. You probably can't tell it well in a couple sentences. You probably have to explore things. And theme is made up of everything we've talked about. Theme is made up of plot. Theme is made up of character and character development. Theme is made up of setting. Theme is made up of the ironies that go into a work. Theme is made up of everything we've talked about so far and more, okay? All of those things go together to form a theme. Not far down the road, we'll look at symbolism, but authors choose specific symbols and use different kinds of symbolism to help develop the theme. So, again, theme is something that is central to a story. It's really what it's all about, you know. So, you know, potential themes for A Rose for Emily, okay? You might come up with the theme that the world has changed. What governed our world X number of years ago cannot govern our world today because, and it would take the explanations of all of those things. You might come up with something like that, okay? So just a quick example, you know. So you're going to have a couple of pieces of literature to read for today, and make sure you read the assignment that I post on the assignment page. The ones that were on the original outline for the course, I'm changing some of those because our world continues to change, and even though I only wrote that in the beginning of August, you know, the sensitivity issues that are so much of our world today, I don't want to get into overly sensitive issues because I don't want to take a chance on offending anybody. That's not fair to anybody. Am I avoiding things? Maybe. I don't know. But you know what these sensitivity issues are. And you can find literature on your own to help you delve into them if you want to. I'm not sure that this is the right forum for it. I mean, there are courses called minority literature, and there are courses called women's literature, and, you know, things like that. So, you know, you can find coursework that delves into those things. I really don't want to do that because that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to show you the things that make up pieces of literature. Okay? So make sure you send me the answer to the question that I'm not going to repeat because it was early on in this video. Okay? But keep doing your work. Please try to get your essays in on time. I like to get all that stuff put together in one day, and so then the next day I can go through all of your comments and write about them, and hopefully that same day try to get a new video out for you and try to get a new lesson out for you, okay? So, you know, but if you can't be on time, and I give you a time on Wednesdays, I ask you to have it done by 6 o'clock. When it comes in at 11 o'clock at night, I've turned off my computer by then. You know, my wife and I are watching some TV show or talking about some book or something that our kids or our grandkids are doing. I'm not doing schoolwork at that time of night, and so that really does set me back. Now, you know, if that really interferes with your time schedule, then it's okay. You can turn stuff in earlier, too. I don't have a problem with that. If you have to be late, then let me know you're going to be late so I don't worry about you not getting things in, okay? If you have missed any assignments up to now, go back and do them and then send me an email when you do them. If you have missed putting down any comments up to now, go back and do them. And then send me an email telling me that you did them, okay? So I want you to make up work past that you didn't get in on time or that you didn't do yet. Do it, okay? Do it, but let me know so that I know to go back and look for it. Will you get full credit? Probably not, but, you know, if it's something that you're making up now and something that you didn't tell me was going to be late, probably not, but at least you'll get a majority of the credit, okay? So that's better than losing it all. So you know where to get me if you have problems. Have a great week.